Buenos días, bienvenidos al quinto webinar de compra de RFID con su marca XERAFY. Gracias por participar. Se encuentra con nosotros Moses Chang, director de la marca XERAFY, y él realizará esta presentación. Les comento rápidamente cuál es la dinámica general. La presentación de Moses durará 20 minutos, será en inglés. El auditorio durante el tiempo de la presentación estará silenciado. Al final de los 20 minutos habrá tiempo, 10 minutos, para una sesión de preguntas y respuestas. Las preguntas las pueden realizar en inglés. Las respuestas todas serán en español, y en los casos donde recibamos vía chat preguntas en español, con gusto las vamos a traducir. Dejo ahora la palabra para Moses. Hi, Moses.
Hey, how are you?
Okay, so fine, thank you. So I just was mentioning about General Dynamics, and I pass the word on to you. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being on. I apologize. My Spanish is not very good, so I will be doing it in English. But if you have any questions at the end of the presentation, feel free to ask, and I will get them answered for you. Like I was introduced, my name is Moses Chang. I am the Director of Sales for XERAFY in North and South America. And I'll briefly go over just a high-level overview of the company. And I won't get into too much specifics on the individual products. I don't think we have enough time, but feel free to, again, ask questions at the end, should there be any. So XERAFY has been around in the market for, this is our 7th year. We have really established a good place in the market for industrial harsh environment tags. We've been able to diversify our product range to fit a number of different vertical markets and requirements. I'll go into more specifics of the different markets that we play in. We currently have very strong geographic positioning as far as our established offices. We are currently headquartered in Hong Kong. We do most of our research and development and manufacturing out of our Shanghai office. And then we also have sales and marketing establishments in the US and in Europe as well. We are also very proud of the strong intellectual property that we currently own. So we have over 30 patents that have already been issued, and a lot more that are still pending. And then, of course, some of the awards and recognitions that we've been awarded throughout the years. So in a nutshell, XERAFY, as I mentioned, we really play in the industrial markets. And this slide kind of illustrates what the industrial markets are. So when a lot of people think about asset tracking, the first things that come to mind is supply chain and logistics and retail. Obviously, these are some of the largest markets for RFID deployments. However, these markets are highly commoditized and very crowded, with the price points steadily declining, and there's a lot of competition for these types of markets. But really hidden from all of this is what we call asset tracking 2.0. And this is really asset tracking for industrial markets such as aerospace, healthcare, automotive, and oil and gas. These markets and their demanding applications are really where XERAFY sees ourselves as one of the innovators, and where we really excel. It's a huge growing market. There are really few competitors out there, and performance is a key differentiator, whereas in asset tracking 1.0 markets, price is really the only differentiator. So what does the industrial markets really need? These are some of the vertical markets that XERAFY currently plays in, and some of the applications that go with along with these markets. Healthcare is quickly becoming one of the largest target segments for XERAFY. We have a number of deployments already in Europe and in the US, as well as in Asia, from the hospital to the medical device manufacturing side. Energy and oil and gas has historically been our largest market, but obviously the energy sector right now is not doing so well. The number of deployments has reduced tremendously in the past 12 months, but we still see ourselves as the leader in oil and gas deployments and applications. And I'll go over some of these applications in more detail. Some of the highlights of XERAFY and kind of how we are known in the market. We are known for offering the world's smallest UHF RFID tags, small enough to tag the most difficult of assets, such as surgical instruments or very small implants. We've been credited to have been established as a global leader in what we call extreme RFID. So able to withstand the highest of temperatures, autoclaves in healthcare, high impact and vibrations, chemical resistance, outdoor conditions. All these types of environments is very typical for us, and these are the types of environments our products are largely made for. We were the first to introduce the embeddable UHF tag back in 2011. So this is technology where it's really bringing us to the point of manufacturing. Previously, there was not a technology available to really include the RFID technology into the design or manufacturing of a product. And it's really opened up a lot of doors for that. And then, of course, we were the first to introduce a UHF metal mountable label. So back in 2012, we first introduced this to the market, and then since then there have been other suppliers coming out with their own versions. I'm actually going to skip over this section because I assume most of you guys are very familiar with RFID and how it works. One thing I do want to point out is some of the important questions that even integrators should be asking the tag manufacturer, because a lot of times we see partners end up choosing the wrong tag even for their customers. And then oftentimes they'll come back to us and say it's not working. So some of the questions that we like to ask right off the bat is, what type of surface material are you trying to attach the tag to? What is the required read ranges that you need? What type of attachment methods work for the customer or for the environment? What type of readers will you be using? Is it a fixed stationary reader? Is it a handheld reader? Is it a desktop reader? Because those things will all affect the types of read ranges that you can expect. And of course, the environmental factors. What temperature ranges are there? Is there any shock or vibration, liquids and gases, or different chemicals? How much data do you need to store? So these are all relevant questions that help us to recommend really the best tag recommendations for that application. This is a very high-level overview of our tag families. I'm not going to go into detail for each one of them, but feel free to ask questions, or I'd be more than happy to send out more information. We'll start with the rugged metal tags. These are really our flagship products. These are what we originally came to market with, and I would say even today these are still what we're known for and the most popular tags. These are all ceramic-based UHF tags, so they naturally have a very much higher survivability than an inlay-based tag. These are what we call metal mount only tags, so they will perform optimally when only mounted to metal. So you shouldn't be looking at these if you're trying to mount to plastic or wood or any other types of materials. And most recently, we introduced the XX series of tags under this family. And these are obviously the world's smallest form factors in terms of UHF metal mount tag. So the tag you see on the bottom right is the .XS, and it is merely 4 millimeters in diameter. So it's extremely, extremely small. The embeddable tags is what I mentioned earlier. These are tags that are custom tuned to sit inside of a metallic cavity or recess. So these take us into applications of source tagging, where the actual manufacturers of different assets and devices, they're now designing in these tags at the point of manufacturing. So it really eliminates the need to try to include a tag post-manufacture or retrofit a tag onto it. And we have form factors that are all available in the rugged metal tags, also in the embeddable tag series. The versatile on and off metal tags is, like what the name says, is more for multiple different types of surfaces. So in applications where you might have a highly metallic environment, but the actual taggable surface, it might be plastic or wood or some other type of composite, these tags might be more applicable. These are what we call inlay tags, whereas the ceramic tags are printed antenna tags. So really the essence of these two tags are much different. Inlay-based tags are more friendly to different types of surfaces. They're generally lower cost, but they're not as ruggedized as some of the rugged metal tags. So they'll have lower temperature points, but very attractive for not so harsh environments, such as a lot of your IT asset tracking and things like that. The autoclavable tags is really our newest family of tags. These are specifically built for the healthcare autoclave, not necessarily for like aerospace autoclave or things like that. These are typically used for sterile processing inside the hospitals, where they're tagging everything from surgical instruments to baskets and trays to your general medical devices. So these have been tested, and these are all FDA approved for those types of environments. The metal skin is our innovation for a metal mountable label. We currently have 3 form factors in the metal skin series: the mercury, the platinum, and the titanium. And so these are very interesting if you need a very almost consumable metal mountable UHF tag that can be easily printed through an RFID printer, and extremely low cost in terms of a metal mount tag. And then the last series is our specialty tags. These are what I consider very application-specific tags. So they might be in different form factors or different types of packaging that make sense for a particular application. One tag I do want to point out is our Explorer tag, which is the stainless steel round tag you see there. This is the world's first downhole UHF tag for downhole environments. For anything that has to do with drilling and going underground, that's probably the worst case scenario you can put an RFID tag into. Some of the environments go up to 400, 500 degrees Fahrenheit and 30,000 PSI. So there's no other tag that has been proven to survive that environment, and we're really excited to launch the Explorer tag. These are some of the patents that we currently hold and also under review. So a lot of them, most of them have to do with antenna design, obviously, and case material and structure. We do have a number of patents over the metal skin, and also the Explorer and other tags that incorporate what we call an antenna-less design, which is we're actually using the stainless steel casing as the antenna itself. So that's a very new and exciting technology that we have come up with. As I mentioned earlier, healthcare is quickly becoming our largest market. One thing interesting I would like to share with you is in the U.S., the FDA really controls everything that goes on in healthcare, and what's really driving RFID adoption currently is the FDA has issued a UDI mandate for all their device manufacturers and hospitals. So I believe before the end of next year, any reusable hospital item will have to have a unique device identifier, meaning each instrument, each implant, everything that gets reused, they'll need to keep track of it. And RFID is naturally a very good solution for that, and it's really what's currently driving adoption. I've mentioned some of the applications we have in healthcare, but the autoclave and sterilization process is really where most of the other suppliers fail. It's because they don't really know the space, they don't know the requirements, and we've been focusing in on this application for over 2.5 years now. We have a lot of learnings. We have a lot of products that are specifically designed for this application, and one thing I would like to mention is we also have developed our own formula of epoxy that is FDA approved, has been tested through numerous cycles of the autoclave, and it's really meant specifically for that application. Oil and gas, I think, still today is our largest market in terms of the number of deployments that we have. I like to say we track everything from the manufacturing plant to the offshore rig. So anything that happens upstream, midstream, we are already tracking. Obviously, there's been a very hard hit to the industry these past couple months, so deployment has gone significantly down. But having said that, there's still pockets in oil and gas where they can't afford to not do RFID because RFID provides them so much asset utilization and also safety concerns. I know a lot of you guys are familiar with the BP spill a number of years ago, and Things like that where a BOP was not properly maintained and certified can all be handled using RFID. So maybe a lot of the applications are currently on hold, but there's still pockets of applications where it's so critical for these oil and gas companies that they can't afford to stop. Aviation is also a very large market for us, and specifically in aviation, we do a whole lot of tool tracking. Most of the aerospace manufacturers have a process called FOD, which is foreign object detection, where they have critical work environments in manufacturing that you can't necessarily lose anything, and they have to keep track of everything that enters and leaves these environments. So tools is obviously a big component of that, and RFID tagging in tools has been going on for many, many years. It's very mature. We have probably over 1 million tags in deployment for just tool tracking, and it's a very mature application. In automotive, we see a lot of automotive applications typically coming out of Europe, is where most of our deployments are. One of the key applications in automotive is the paint shop and the painting process. So there are very specific requirements from the tag side that can survive and is certified for the paint shop environment. So we actually have a model of our Micro X2 called the Paint Shop Micro, and it's specifically designed and constructed for that application. And some of the existing customers include Siemens and Toyota and Volkswagen and Volvo. IT is a large market for us in terms of the volume of deployments. And IT data centers, I think, still is one of the most mature UHF applications out there. We have outfitted many, many data centers all over the world, and these will include everything from tracking their racks to their servers, their chassis, their routers, switches, really anything that needs to get audited. The ROI is very mature also for this application, and we have a number of Fortune 50 customers that we're happy to call XERAFY customers for IT assets. Some of the other brief applications are in construction, military and defense, logistics and transportation. I won't go into too much detail, but these are some of just the other markets that we also play in. The metal skin, I went into detail earlier, but it is one of our innovations, and it is really driving the market for the lower end side of metal mount tags. So it's really bridging the gap between your typical paper label and then your rugged RFID tags. This is some of the solutions that we have for the healthcare market. So as I mentioned, the FDA UDI program is really driving adoption and compliance for RFID. And this is not just limited to surgical instruments. We typically show surgical instruments because that is some of the hardest to tag in the worst case. But there's obviously a number of different applications just within the OR and hospital environments. This is just covering the rise of the industrial internet, and really the hottest words right now is IoT, or the Internet of Things, but there's also an industrial Internet of Things that is fastly growing, and companies like GE and Cisco, they're really driving adoption for the industrial Internet. So when we're able to marry, machines with analytics, we're, showing tremendous return on investments for these industrial companies. And we feel that RFID is just one, but a very important component of the rise of the industrial internet. These are just some of the customers that we have. And with that ends my part of the presentation. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Moses. Muchas gracias a todos. Espero que hayan escuchado sin ningún problema la presentación de Moses Chang. Les pido por favor que nos envíen sus preguntas a través del chat. Moses, I'm asking the people, the audience, to send the questions through the chat. I think you can see it, but if not, we are going to read it for you. Por favor, envíenos sus preguntas en la ventana de chat. Las pueden escribir en inglés y si las quieren escribir en español, con todo gusto hacemos la traducción. Este webinario estará disponible en nuestro canal de YouTube a la brevedad. Ahí también pueden disponer de otros materiales sobre la tecnología de RFID, también de nuestras marcas y de información de interés en nuestro blog y redes sociales. Esperamos unos segundos. Al parecer ya tenemos una pregunta y dice, a ver, la leo en español, está muy chiquito el chat, dice, XERAFY provee también los demás componentes, antenas, readers, software, y es una pregunta de Patricia. Moses, Patricia is asking if XERAFY also provides the other components like readers and antennas, or any other software.
So healthcare is one of our growing segments and quickly becoming our largest market. And we find that in typical hospital healthcare environments that there's a lack of readers that make sense for those applications. So we are in the process, we've already introduced some, but we are in the process of building hardware solutions for very specifically hospital environments. So we're not building readers for general RFID. That's really not our goal there. But because we understand the requirements and the needs for those types of applications, we are providing readers and hardware solutions for hospital environments.
Thank you, Moses. Patricia, I hope this answers your questions. If not, please send us more questions through the chat. And okay, we have more questions from Amelia Torres. Amelia Torres is asking how can she get prices. Well, if you, perdón, voy a contestar en español. Si nos escribes, Patricia, al correo ventas@comprarfid.com preguntándonos acerca de producto y volumen, con todo gusto te enviamos los precios, porque contamos con precios y con descuentos por volumen. Ismael Herrero nos pregunta si vamos a enviar la presentación por correo. La presentación de Moses Chang va a estar disponible en formato de video en nuestro canal de YouTube y la liga a ese video la vamos a enviar a través del correo y con gusto se la podemos enviar, señor Herreros. Muchas gracias por su pregunta. ¿Alguien más? Tenemos una pregunta de José Luis Ortiz. A ver, la voy a leer en español y haré la mejor traducción posible. ¿Hay forma de hacer integraciones con .NET u otro lenguaje de programación para explotar los datos? Okay, Moses, this is the question. Can you integrate with .NET or any other language or any other programming language to export, or I think to work the data? I think that's the question.
I think that would be more on the software side of how they translate it. Typically, the data that is stored in an RFID tag is written in hex. Now, how you capture that and how you translate it to .NET or something else would require some specific software platform.
Okay, thank you. José Luis got the answer. Thank you. Okay. Tenemos más preguntas sobre enviar el link. Con todo gusto, Ivette Escalante, quien organizó este GoToWebinar, les enviará la liga de cuando esté listo en nuestro canal de YouTube de este video a todos los interesados. ¿Alguien más tiene preguntas técnicas? Vamos a esperar unos momentos. Agradecemos su participación. En un momento tuvimos cerca de 33 participantes. Creemos que estos esfuerzos de difusión sobre la tecnología RFID son buenos para la industria, son buenos para todos, y agradecemos tanto a Moses como a todas nuestras marcas y a todos los participantes su interés. Si no hay más preguntas, vamos a dar por terminado este webinar, agradeciendo su participación. Moses, I think there are no more questions. Would you like to give... Oh, wait, there is one more question. Okay, they are looking for pricing on tags for high temperatures. This is from Miguel Marín. Miguel, con todo gusto te enviaremos la información. ¿Tienes alguna pregunta específica de algún tag en específico, alguno del cual habló Moses? Si no nos puedes contestar por chat, alguna cosa específica, nosotros te buscamos por correo y te enviamos la información. Muchas gracias. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Ya vimos tu respuesta, Miguel. Solo de altas temperaturas. Okay. Moses, we have a request for your high temperature tags, and we are going to send that information to Miguel Marín very soon, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. ¿Alguna otra pregunta técnica sobre la presentación de Moses Chang? Me parece que no hay más preguntas. Moses, thank you very much for your time. It's been a very useful presentation, and we are happy to have you here. And hope you can join us again.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm glad to do this.
Thank you. Thank you, Moses. Gracias a todos y nos vemos en nuestro próximo webinario. Hasta luego.